Hello.
Guess who's back?
Right, and this is part 2
Of episode 19.
Of episode 19. And the reason we put this into 2 episodes is so that you could see what was going on at home versus what was going on with me, and the impact it was having in both places. That day in court, my mother, Lee, my daughter, my sister all came and spoke, and even made the judge cry. But it didn't matter that day, and I was whisked away, and I was able to call Lee at around 8 o'clock at night, and I was still in shock and still devastated. And Lee had kind of gotten the sentence wrong. He gave me actual 18 months, and he didn't suspend any of it. So the perception was I was gone for a year and a half. So I called Lee that night, and it was a devastating conversation. And I was just, for me anyway, I was trying to talk to him, and he was trying to reassure me that everything was going to be fine. And stop trying to not let the universe do what it's trying to do. And he was being very specific with just keep faith, and everything's going to be fine here, and go do what you have to do there. And we talked until I was taken to another facility, and which was much farther away than our home, from my kids. And we've done a lot of talking about Cameron, and I do have 3 daughters. The difference is Cameron was 4, and my daughters are older. At the time, my youngest was 12, 13. Yeah, 13.
She was 12. Going on 13.
Yeah, 12 going on 13. And they all knew the truth, and that was very important. My daughter, who hadn't spoken to me in a long time, had been over some previous things, had come back into my life, and now she had was spending some time with me, and now I was gone. My kids knew the truth. They were sad, obviously, and hurt. But Cameron was 4, and there's a reason that we didn't tell Cameron the truth, because we pride ourselves in being honest and standing in our truth. And the main reason is Cameron was 4, and when the television and movies really show a bad perception of prison and jail, and it's a scary thing for a 4-year-old. It's a scary thing for a 40-year-old. But for a 4-year-old, it's a very scary image, and it's just very scary. And the fact that his mother was gone, and was scary enough for him, we felt. So instilling any more fear in him that I was in a bad place wasn't even an option for me. It was bad enough that he had fear. What, was I ever coming home? I was going to be gone for a while. What had happened to me? Things like that. So adding any more fear to him wasn't an option to me. When he gets older, we will certainly tell him the truth. We won't be sugarcoating anything. We'll definitely be standing in our truth and telling him that I made some bad choices. And at this point in time, I was still really adamant that my choices weren't as bad as everybody else's who was in these facilities. I was still standing in that I shouldn't be here. mode. And so that happened. I got transported, and I wasn't able to call home for a couple days. This was on December 28th of 2013. I was to be gone.
2012.
2012, right?
You
Right.
said 2013.
I'm sorry, 2012. Going into 2013. It was 2013 going into 2014. I was right the first time.
Oh, you were? Really?
No, I was wrong. You're right. It's been a while. I'm trying to remember.
See?
It was 2012 going into 2013. Write it down. There was a point in time where I was.
All you time traveling people got that, but not me.
Whatever.
I knew time.
Okay, I was wrong. It was 2012 going into 2013. End of December, almost 2013.
Yes.
And I finally got a hold of him after a couple days, was telling him the procedures, and he was so good about following procedure and doing what he needed to do to get me the stuff I needed to have, and money and phone time. And during those phone calls, we would talk about business, clients, things that were going on. And I was, okay, well, let's just do this. And he would reassure me every time I called. And it came upon the new year, and I would look around me and see people who were there for heinous crimes and murders, and still in the mind frame that I shouldn't be here amongst all these people. And then something hit me, and it said, I forget the statement exactly, but it was something about being humble and non-judgmental. And I looked around me, and I just saw beautiful people. And then I was really put to the test. I was really put to the test when I had come up with the idea to start a newsletter there, and me and another person had, and we took it to the higher ups and took it to the warden, and she approved it, and we put together a staff. And I realized when I looked at a person that I was working really close with, and I liked her, but I looked at her name tag, and I realized that she was somebody that had spent months and months and months on the news years before for doing something so completely unthinkable. And I remember just watching the trial and judging her and coming face to face with her really brought me to a place of learning how not to be judgmental. Then I started to realize that the universe had me in this place for some other reason, and had Lee in another place for some other reason. We were still together. We were still connected. We were writing letters. We were talking on the phone every day, 3 and 4 times a day. And holidays were hard. Everything was hard. But I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't do many times what I was supposed to do. I broke the law. And it was hitting me in the face that I should have done what I was asked to do. And numerous times. And I didn't. And I was there, and I needed to change some lives, and I needed to make a difference. So I'm calling 3 and 4, sometimes 5, 6 times a day.
No, that was too expensive. Nice try.
In the beginning I was.
No, actually you weren't then either, because it was about a minute. It was pretty expensive, no matter how I looked at it, and we had to
3
really
or 4
watch what we
times
were
a day?
doing.
Unless it was something pertinent, then it was.
It was twice a day. You would call maybe early afternoon, then you would call later in the evening.
But unless it was something pertinent, then I would call more.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I did.
He was going to do it. You all knew he was going to do it at some point. So, some of the things that started happening during that time, though, we were really sharing a lot when we were writing. And, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, where you had to listen to somebody all the way through, and the way we were writing, even when we were speaking to each other, we knew that we needed to talk about things that went straight to the heart. There was no holding back. And during this time, our dreams, and really the non-physical, is how we were connecting in such a way that was only getting stronger every day. And a lot of the writings that I had, I started pulling them out and started posting them. And then I wrote the book that we were working on before you left. I finished it up, and it was What is Love? And at this point, she was teaching from a book that we put out there for free. I mean, we put this out there because it really spoke to the energy of what love truly is.
He sent it to me, and I had somebody make some copies. And it started being circulated around the facility.
Still is.
Still is being circulated around the facility. I started a beginner chakra class. Was teaching the chakra system to women who had no idea, but were hungry for knowledge, hungry for information, hungry for what was going on with them. I was doing readings like crazy, but I was teaching so much, and didn't really even realize that I was in meditation classes. We were meditating. There was 8 or 9, sometimes 12 of us. At one day there was 22 of us that were meditating at certain times every day in a group together. I'd started some stuff. And Lee was sending literature. He was sending literature so much. Sometimes in big envelopes the literature would come. And I would get it copied, and I would just start passing it around to the point where I had to, have him check it in and check it out, so I knew who had it, so the next person could get it. That way nobody kept it, and we could keep it circulating. And at one point in time, the What is Love, and there was a couple other pieces of literature that you'd sent that was actually brought into the library so they could check it in and check it out. That way when I left, it's still there.
And this was all original work. There was nothing copied. There was no going on the internet seeking information. It was just what we felt happened to us and what the true explanation of it was. It's funny because, sometimes people want you to keep it simple, but sometimes simple needs to be more simple. And you've got to walk them down a certain path of how they got there, of how they arrived at this way, of how the soul really needs to speak. Because we've been taught to be stuck in here. And the moment you find that you can break somebody free of that, which she is in this place where everybody's trapped. They're told the outside world doesn't exist. She's told daily that this connection is gonna, he's gonna disappear. He's not gonna be called, he's gonna completely, and there was a point, I think that conversation maybe happened twice. She goes, oh God, they came out of it. And then I said, okay, and we just went right into what our union was, because we understood what it's like for somebody else to put you in a prison. Mm. Not that there's a way that we do it to ourselves, but sometimes too much information is way too much information. And you miss what the information wants you to go inside to find. And during this time, we both had the simultaneous dream that this is a gift given to you. And we really, I think, at that point, didn't really pay attention to really what the gift was. But our communication was beyond anything. And I think this happens to twins who end up meeting far distances, and they have no other way to really connect, and they find this stream of energy, and then they go, wow. And then, of course, there's a place of no mind. you can have this luminous place of connection by talking. And the stuff we were sharing, we started really sharing more about what we experienced when we were kids, more about what we experienced. You know, a lot of the trauma got to come out where there was no interruption or questions being asked. It was just put right out there. This is what it is. Read it. Know what this is. And I started dreaming about the things that she had experienced. I know that I felt that I experienced them with her. And it gave me a newfound respect and love for her that I didn't even know was possible. Because we have this thing called individual, that the individual self decides to absorb individuality and only make it an individual experience. What was happening during this time was more or less the truth about two bodies, one soul. And we really found that you had experienced stuff that I went through my childhood, and this was just from telling her one way. She'd go and dream, and then she started asking me questions about it, and I did the same thing and asked you questions about it. And then we understood the crap we went through. And what this was really giving us was the ability to be together day in, day out. It was almost like we stepped into each other in a different way, in such a way that true healing really, really came.
We had some really intense letter writing and some really intense phone conversations. We've got 2 boxes full of letters that still we've kept them, that we've written back and forth, that hopefully one day our grandchildren or great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren,
or an archive of some kind
will read them and know that what they're feeling is not an illusion, it's real. That this is something that is real. And
very much real.
The fear of abandonment was gone in me after a while. I just began to, don't get me wrong, I missed him physically. I missed the touch of my kids. I looked forward to our visit, which was only once a month. And it was for 3 hours? 3.5 hours?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Three and a half.
And there was only 2 or 3 times maybe that you visited by yourself. The rest was with everybody. My daughters, Cameron came every time but once.
But once.
Yeah.
And he even came with your mom.
And my mother would even, because Cameron could come as many times as somebody would bring him, but it would have to be with a different person because one person could only visit
once a month.
So Lee could come up and bring him, and then my mom could come up and bring him. And they did that, and there were times when they visited together, and my daughters would come a lot. And so I really looked forward to those visits. And, of course, could hold hands, but that was about it.
Yeah. So we had to, we were doing other things during this time that we could tell you, but it's still not going to be as powerful as what we actually experienced. Mm-hmm. We were together. We got to be together a lot without the physical.
Telepathically. We spoke
spiritually,
a lot. And spiritually.
Astral, whatever you want to call it.
I felt his arms around me at night, every night.
Could hear me talk to you.
You rarely left the house.
Didn't leave the house at all.
He rarely left the house, but to take Cameron swimming or maybe go to the park if it was a holiday.
Me and Ron went shopping.
You and Ron hung out a lot. If it was a holiday, then you would make sure that Cameron got to be with his sisters and family. Mm-hmm. He was. You stayed at home.
Stay-at-home mom.
It came on. It came on Mother's Day. I see you. It came on Mother's Day. And it's something that I saw Ron tear up in the other video that he recorded. And it's something that it's really hard to talk about. Because being away from him, and the others. I don't want to discount that there were others, but he was 4. And I could talk to the others. They, were more adult-like, and they understood, and they got it, and they were able to express their emotions, where he wasn't so much. And I was with him when he started preschool. I was able to go in and meet his teachers and talk to them, and there was, a few months of me being with him during his preschool time. And then all of a sudden, mommy left in October. He started preschool in August. So there was a couple months that I was there during his preschool time. And so it came up on Mother's Day. And, there's Mother's Day programs at the preschool. And Lee was the only father there. But when you're separated from them, and I was in a place where I couldn't call him at any time, and there were certain times, and I did get to talk to him on Mother's Day, but Lee sent me the paper that Cameron drew when they were drawing pictures of their mommies. And this is what I received in the mail. Picture that says, "My mommy," and it was scribbled in black. When I opened that up, I was devastated. And that's when it hit me that I made the decision to be separated from him, and that I was really hurting him. And it was painful, but it gave me more incentive to do the right thing and to make the most of me being away from him, and to teach as many as I could, and change as many lives as I could. And I did just that. And my birthday came and went, and July 4th came and went, and holidays just would come and go. And it came up on end of August. I still had until the next March. I had till March of 2014. There were some circumstances, and Lee got a hold of the right guy, and then he goes to the judge, what's going on? I mean, was judge having a bad day? This is kind of crazy, type of thing. And, she broke the law. Let's not make light of it. What's going on? Was she having a bad day? This is a lot of time. So, he went to the judge, and when I called Lee, back and forth, this happened for couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, end of August, 1st of September, I had been gone almost a year, because I had left in October. And Lee had told me I had a court date, that he was reconsidering my whole sentence, and that we were gonna have a sentence reduction. So I was coming home, and we knew I was coming home. We didn't say much to anybody, because you just never know. So it happened. I was ecstatic, but I was making sure to leave behind. I left behind the newspaper. I named the newspaper, actually. And it's still going, and I'm pretty proud of that. But I'm gonna take Relationship Reinvented back there to speak, possibly. And we're just getting me home. And we didn't tell Cameron, and we didn't tell my girls, and we didn't tell my mother. We didn't tell anybody until I came home. And nobody knew, because I still had plenty of time. So wow, what a day that was.
I found this guy and had talked to him and was trying to really work to get the money to get this guy, because we both felt it, but it was one of those things where it came, and I said, oh no, this first thing. And after saving every penny and doing what was needed during that time, he called me up and said, yeah, we're going to bring her home. And I said, huh? He said, yeah, don't worry about it. She's going to be there. She'll be there next week on this date, and she's coming home. And I was just, okay. And I was afraid that there would be like a second phone call behind it saying, well, we're going to bring her back and we're going to do this. But no, he just said, no, she's coming home. And it was surreal, because I think at this point, though, our connection was so strong and our communication was so beautiful at this point. And there was just this new way of talking to each other, new way of understanding each other. No more hiding the thoughts, which is what everybody seems to be infected with. Let me hide my thoughts and say the wrong thing or say something different, but not say the thing that I want to say in my mind. The ego has got you, and it's going to keep you, and it's going to do whatever it needs to do to keep you away from the one thing that matters most. Not going to even tell you what that is.
Here's the deal. When we reconnected before I left, and we were arguing a lot, we were pushing the envelope, and the universe has a way of making the decisions for you. If you just allow the universe to do what it's supposed to do and not fight it, you would avoid so much of mess. But we had to push the envelope. So the universe said, no, okay, we want you together. This is destiny. This is what you're supposed to be doing. However, you need to come over here, and you need to come over here. And I had things to do. I was still cleansing. And I did that. I did that by teaching. I did that by talking to people. They would flock to me and just want to know why I was smiling, why I was laughing, why I was so excited to be there. Because who's excited to be there, right? I witnessed a murder. I witnessed somebody killing somebody. I witnessed this. I saw it with my eyes. It happened in front of me. And I'm still the next day smiling. People are in depression, deep suicidal depression all around me, and there's so much going on, and I'm laughing and smiling, and I'm so in love. And I'm talking to Lee, and I don't know how I didn't get on the mental health bill, but I didn't. But I'm talking to Lee, and I'm okay. I'm happy to be there. I'm sad to be away. There was nothing I can do. So being sad and being depressed wasn't really hurting anybody but me and him, because he would have been able to feel it. And I think there was a few times when I was like, can't stop smiling, I'm laughing, I'm talking to people who are depressed, who doesn't want to be depressed anymore. And I'm showing them inside, not a prisoner, not an inmate. I'm asking them to speak to me by my name, and I wanted to speak to them by their name, not by a number. What is your name? So I could talk to them personally, and it made a big difference. It made a big difference. And so then there's a point when the universe is like, okay, you're ready. Guess who wasn't ready? This guy. Because he took his nephew 4 miles down the street. When I got out, I had to sit on a bench and wait for him to get there. That really happened. He finally shows up, I got there. I got home. I don't know what happened.
No, go ahead.
There was a beep. We're going to keep going. So I get in the car. It's a beautiful experience. I come back here. It was my niece that was in the kitchen?
Yes.
Yes. Had no idea I was coming home. The first thing I needed to do was color my hair because it was white down to here, because I am natural gray, white. But she saw me and she was ecstatic. Nobody had told anybody I was coming home. I did what I needed to do. I took, well, he knew I was coming home.
Well,
He's
nobody told anybody.
Right,
She's
that's
coming
it.
up.
I took a shower, I got my stuff together, I got myself together, and I had to see Cameron. So I called him on the phone. And I didn't tell him I was home. And
Oh, I went and got him.
yeah. And I was talking to him like I was still there. And his first question was, when are you coming home? And I said, well, sweetie, I don't know. We didn't tell him. We went and got him.
Because it was Friday.
Yeah.
It was normal time.
Yeah, it was a normal time for him to come here. And I stood back in the hallway, and he stood in the living room. And when I walked out, he looked at me and went, Mom?
I cried.
Like I was a ghost. It was a question. It wasn't a statement.
Cried.
It was a question.
I cried some
Yeah.
more.
He said, Mom? And he just ran to me, and he hugged me, and he held me so tight. I'll never forget it. He hugged me so tight, I thought I wasn't going to be able to breathe, and I didn't care. I didn't care. And we went and got my daughter, and I called my other daughter, and during the time I was away, my other daughter decided she wasn't going to talk to me again. And there it was. I was home. And there was lots of emails, lots of bells and whistles going on, lots of activity, lots of relationship reinvented things happening, and it was a little overwhelming when all the bells and whistles were going off, and
I don't know what she's talking about.
the dinging and the cell phone dinging and the emails and all this stuff, and so I had a lot of catching up to do, and I did that. I did some catching up, and so we're going to stop the story there. We're going to address a couple more things, and at the end of the video I'm going to throw a couple pictures up from my little vacation if you're interested in checking those out. Those will be fun. Those are fun. So we just want to say a few things along the lines of our twin flame union and the events that have happened this far have been pretty outrageous. We've climbed some serious mountains here, folks. You're not allowed to say that.
I didn't say anything about it.
Okay. There's a few things I want to discuss, and I know that Lee wants to follow up on them. Lee and I run this business. We talk to our clients, and our business is relationship reinvented. We are certified coaches. We deal with relationships all day, every day. We happen to be in a twin flame union. The universe just did that. And so we're putting our story out there because it is a twin flame union. And we talk to people who are struggling in their twin flame unions all day, every day. Well, except for Saturdays and Sundays. But anyway, we're not authorities on the twin flame union. We are not, what's the word?
Expert.
There it is. We're not experts in this field. We're just us. We're just our truth. We're telling you what we know because we've been through it. I don't believe there can be experts in the field. There are other people out there. There are other twin flame unions out there. There are other YouTubers out there that are in a twin flame union as well. I really feel it's who you resonate with. We're not judgmental. There is no competition here. It's very simple. We just don't want anybody to get confused on what it is we do. When it comes to Lee and I, and only Lee and I, because it's our truth and our journey. Lee and I coach together. We do everything together, unless somebody requests one or the other, and then it usually ends up being us together too after 1 or 2 sessions. That's how we do, because we are in a union, and a union is 2, not 1. Is that right?
Something like that.
Yeah. And
2 bodies, 1 soul.
2 bodies, 1 soul. And I feel that coaching other twins who are struggling, getting the female and the male point of view and what's going on is really helpful. We coach together, and that's what I feel our union is calling us to do. We do have all of the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, all the aspects in our twin flame union. I'm not physically attracted too much, or I was physically attracted from the first day. I didn't have to fall in love with you. Does that make sense? Or I didn't have to learn to be physically attracted to you. Anyway, I was physically attracted from, were you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, where's she going?
Right. It just is, there's
if this is the part where we get it on and you play that music.
Well, yeah.
I'm with you.
I just don't want there to be any confusion on, I'm not spiritually connected, but I'm physically connected, and I'm mentally connected, and I'm emotionally connected. Is it a union? We're not here to tell you if you're in a twin flame union or not. We're not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong. We're students just as much as you are, and we're learning still as we go. We coach from experience. We have coaching certifications, but we coach from mostly our experience, and we really do try to be as simple and uncomplicated as possible. And
You do.
there's that. There's that. When he starts to speak alien, I can step right in, and I can be a translator for your alien ship. Is that a word?
We are here to take your leader. Just kidding. Go ahead.
I really feel that it's who you resonate with, and you may resonate with 3 or 4 or 5 different videos, different people. I think that's wonderful. We have an amazing soul family, and man, if I find something that we're not really schooled in, or we haven't really gone through too much, I'll throw them to the other 2 couples in a minute. Here, talk to them, because they know. We'll be able to answer you better. And
We all share the same mission.
we do share the same mission. And I just wanted to clear that. I just wanted to clear some things up. I don't feel there's one person who knows all the answers. There's not one person who can help you with all of the answers. There's not one person who's an expert in this field or in that field or in that field. I personally don't believe in that. And that doesn't resonate with me. I really believe that all twin flame unions should be there to teach and to bring about understanding and unconditional love, folks, because what we have going on here is unconditional love. Look at what we've endured this far.
There's more. Huh? Yeah, but we'll get there.
God, you just lost 17 people.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But do you have any?
Yes,
Okay.
I do want to
knew
say
we did.
this. One thing that I would say that Sherry and I have learned in this union is stay humble. Don't teach what you're not willing to be a student of. And above all, never, ever, ever underestimate, ever, the pain that's supposed to bring true love into you. I know some people think there's no way that this is not just, it's not about me, it's not about my story, it's not about the story that I've been telling myself, that's what I endured, it was all for nothing. It was for something. Everybody has purpose. Every single person on this planet has purpose. Somebody telling you don't, you're just talking to the wrong people. And if you really have endured a lot, sometimes you have to take a step back to step forward. And you've really got to look at what this experience was trying to teach you for this existence. And then you got to find a way to fall in love with it. Because if you can't fall in love with your pain, don't expect anybody else to. If you think that you're going to come into this union and you're not going to think that it's going to be some work, think again. There is such internal work that needs to be done, not just in the other person. If you're pointing at them, point it back at you. That is the mirror that you need to look at. Because there is a reason the cord got struck, didn't you, in the first place? Struck. Jesus. I'm going to say it how I want to say it.
Why are you going to bring him into it?
Who?
Jesus.
I'm not going to.
Okay. You said his name.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is
that was.
The truth is that the things that resonate and hurt in you, the other person is going to make those amplified because of what you're already seeing in them that you've seen before or felt before or vibrated or hurt from before. And when it gets down to the core of the pain, that's where you're supposed to stand in. And we're telling you, it's the proof that you see here, that you've seen with Rob, that you've seen with Kate, that you've seen this entire story, this entire journey, is that very thing. Who would we be if we held each other through our pain? Because you do relive it, whether you know it or not. And it's the one thing that will always keep you from cementing in the truth. So, I would say that we're all students here. There's not anybody that you won't resonate with, but take what you know you need for the tools for yourself and go in and do the work. Don't sugarcoat shit. Do the work. The work is not another person. The work is in you. If the communication's been told to stop, communicate. Because what's going to make you uncomfortable means growth, means change, means acceptance, means understanding, means being embraced. Don't think that it's not. Just because you say to yourself, well, they're not going to accept me for that. You're right. The mirror. They're going to show you exactly what you're saying to yourself. Not sure if people understand the mirror effect, but wouldn't that make sense that if you can't accept something, your twin is not going to accept it either?
That's what we do help with. We are able to coach you, and we are able to bring you through the work. We're able to give you the tools to show you what work needs to be done and where it needs to be done.
And it's not that anybody is attacking you. And there are times when you won't like us, and we're okay with that. But just know that we're doing it with such great love, and we're not going to run from you. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to criticize you. We're not going to attack you. We're going to hold you through it. Because sometimes you got to come even closer in that pain to understand how they got there, the path. You got to walk them all the way back to those steps, hold them, then walk those steps again, and point out what needs to be seen.
The union isn't a fantasy. However, you know, if you've watched from episode 1 that we have walked across the cold numerous times, barefoot with no skin on. It's been rough.
Explains the darkness.
there is a fantasy. There is a place of harmony and bliss, and it's not always perfect. And I say it all the time on the radio show. Lee and I don't float around here with fairy dust and the dishes get done when we throw the dust on them and the vacuuming gets done. No, Lee does that when it needs done. That's not always true.
So,
Anyway, however, the spirituality that's between you is intense. The emotional bond that you have, the connection, is intense. The physical connection, the physical bond, the physical connection is intense. Very intense. And it should be happening if you're in a twin flame union often, very often. It's a spiritual experience.
however, if you're stuck in ego, if you haven't fallen in love with your ego, and that's the choice you have. Again, this is about what you won't give to anybody else. If you're not giving it to yourself, dead end. The ego is here, created for us to have this experience and illusion. Beyond that, if you remove the conditions, you can have your fantasy. There won't be any kind of thought process to keep you from it. But if we've got to be, stuck in here, downloading all the time, what are you really going to hear? You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it all. Remember, none of your minds out there can stop this. So
True.
what if you find that between you?
If you're stuck in I'm right and everybody else is wrong all the time.
Been there, done that.
Wow.
Don't need that anymore. It's a useless tool. It does anything but maybe you can garner some people to rally around you, but what happens when that illusion is gone?
Right.
Doesn't leave you much of anything that I can think of. But that's not the point. The point is this. We love you all. We don't have a preference of who you should go out there and listen to. We don't point at anybody and say that person is spot on, that person is doing this or doing that, or you can't find the information that you seek, because the information is always available to you in here, in yourself. Not even us. Nobody out there is going to tell you to go look inside yourself. If you don't understand what you need to see when you go in there, there is a positive and negative energy in everything. Just go at it that way. Again,
Right.
we do this because we know that even the people that help us do what we need to do, who come to us who need that help, this is here because this is what the universe said we were supposed to do. It is the mission. The business side, we can help people heal relationships they have to themselves. Not the two people. If they want to do it together, there's still some individual work that has to be done.
Thank you guys for watching. We're going to keep going. We're just going to keep going until you tell us to
Yes.
stop.
There is a video that is coming.
We're still getting ready to film the switch video.
The switch. The one that causes people to do mean things or be disconnected from everything. Yeah, that one's coming.
But in the meantime, you got this little double shot. And so we left off where I came home, Cameron was hugging me, and I got my daughter, and then everybody started to find out that Sherry was home.
Yay! Go Sherry.
Yay. And there's more to come.
Yes. Again, thank you guys.
Thank you for watching.
Talk to you soon.